Okay, this video is going to be a little more complicated because what I'm going to show you how to do, what I'm going to show you to do here involves several different things. So I'm going to show you how to put the enemy on a path because that's something you may want to do in your game to keep your enemy confined to have him move, but also stay only in certain areas so that way he's not just tracking you down everywhere you go. So you should already know how to do a path. I'm going to create a path real quick here. Boom, little path, right? And then you right click to end the path. And so then you're going to go get your object tool and go to your little guy that you're going to have move around, program him to always, so I'm not going to do a when statement, it's going to be always, move on path. And you may also play around with creating different kinds of paths. I'm going to just say specify a white path. That way if you want to use a red path or a blue path for other enemies or other things in your game, you can. So if you specify one path, that means that path's only going to apply to this particular guy that you're programming, right? And I can leave that statement way down here at the bottom, right? So now when I play it, you can see the octopus is over here moving on that path just fine, right? Now what happens when I move out here and he can see me, now he's activated to shoot at me, and he's also going to just hunt me down like a dog and continue to shoot at me because he's no longer on his path. He doesn't know what else to do. So what we're going to do is make some changes to our game here. So mainly to this enemy. So we're going to choose our object tool and go to program him. Okay. So we have it where if he sees Kodu in his line of sight, he's going to turn toward him. And on this same page right here, he's going to shoot his missile, his level missile, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this statement, we're going to just cut it entirely, and in the place of it, we're going to have this switch to page 2. Okay, so he's going to see Kodu in his line of sight, and he's going to turn towards him, and we're going to switch to page 2. But what we're going to do before we switch to page 2 is go to the when statement and add just a little bit of time. So we're going to give him, I don't know, let's say half a second to make that turn before we go to page 2. And then what we're going to do on page 2 is we're going to add back in whenever you see Kodu in your line of sight. Now that we're on page 2, this is going to be a shooting page. So he's going to shoot a missile on a level path. And we're going to say, this time we're going to give him a direction and say forward because he's already turned to face Kodu. So now he can just shoot his missile forward. This is going to make the missiles not follow you as well. So this is a good thing. We want it to only fire forward. And then after he's done that, we may do another timer here for just another half of a second. And then we're going to switch back to page 1. And we need to make sure and indent this so it's still, he's going to see Kodu, shoot his missile, and along with that, we're going to wait a half a second and switch back to page 1. So now when we play it, Octopus is over there moving on his path just fine. I'm going to move out here. He's going to see me, turn to shoot at me. He just killed me. I shouldn't let him do that. So he's shooting at me. And now when I get back out of the line of sight over here, see if I can hide over here. He should go back to, not sure I'm completely out of his line of sight yet. Alright, let's see if I can get over here out of his line of sight. There we go. So now that I'm out of his line of sight, he's gone back to happily going along his path. So that's one way to use paths and have your enemies shoot, is to switch back and forth between pages like that. So that's just a little tip. If you want to use a path for your enemy, that's going to be something you're going to need to incorporate.